Now, when it comes to the Israelis, their Weizmann Institute, so this is a scientific institute the Iranians hit. That was really one of those moments where I thought, damn, the Iranians are not playing around. You know, because people always say this bollocks about, oh, they're choreographing and telegraphing their moves and it's all performative. I'm looking at Tel Aviv being hit with hypersonics and I'm going, are we watching the same war? And then when they, you know, they killed the Iranian scientists and they hit the Iranian nuclear sites, Karaj, Fordow, Isfahan, Natanz, and then Iran hit the Weizmann Institute, I was like, oh. And it appears the damage there was so bad, it's cost them hundreds of millions of dollars. And keep in mind, this is the Israelis try to sell you this idea that, well, oh, it's just a lab that does like really nice, lovely Care Bear research, you know, about cell regeneration and heart disease. Yeah, a bit. But the primary function, the most important and the value of that institute is the research and development that it does for Israeli weapons, particularly with Elbit Systems, okay? So the Iranians hit a scientific / military target. Just like the Israelis, of course, will tell you that when they bomb a nuclear site, that's also a military target, right? And even when they murder scientists at home with their families, they call that a military target, even though it's not. Well, at least Iran didn't bomb anyone at home. But, you know, they hit the lab itself, and that cost the Israelis a ton of money. Some of the things that they research at Weizmann. So I told you already, Elbit Systems, which is the biggest Israeli weapons manufacturer. So they have these branches in the UK that build drones and you know, manufacture other parts for Israel. They also do R&D for cyber weapons, cyber warfare, for drones. There's also stuff, research they do in terms of artificial intelligence. And so they basically train models, AI models there as well. And they're also involved in Israel's nuclear program. So it's not just when it comes to conventional weapons or cyber weapons. Yeah, $570 million. That's the estimated damage. 45 labs gone. And you should keep in mind that, for example, when Israel Channel 13 are saying there are many casualties in the army bases and strategic facilities, but because of the Iranian missiles, but we haven't been able to discuss them until today. So what they're basically saying is that Iran spanked them very, very hard, and they haven't been able to disclose, because of the military censor, of course, the full extent of the damage. And I also believe the Iranians are not giving us the full picture. It's just in a war, you're always going to minimize your losses and maximize your gains and wins. It's, you know, for several reasons, for morale, for operational security, you know, for propaganda. It's normal that both sides do this, but I think it's fair to say, given the density, the population density of the settlers, also just the how small occupied Palestine is compared to Iran, the fact that the Iranians kept lobbing these volleys and salvos and missiles that, you know, half of the time weren't stopped. I think that it caused a lot of damage, and we're not hearing or seeing anywhere near the full-scale destruction. Not to mention the fact that the Israelis publicly said that any Israeli who's caught filming is going to be punished, arrested, jailed, right? Ben Gvir, the security minister, was saying that. And also they banned foreign crews. I saw several journalists, American, German, so on, not complaining, but basically admitting, saying that, yeah, we've been stopped from filming. And again, you can argue that's for operational security, sure. But me, when I'm doing an analysis on this war, I'm trying to see what the damage is. So something's being hidden. That doesn't change the fact that they're hiding the scale of the damage.